We should officially be live on Facebook as well. Good morning. Happy Monday, everybody. It is Q&A Monday. I know what you're thinking. That's Mitch on there. It must be Friday. I'm confused what day it is. No, it is not Friday. Yes, you are confused from quarantine days, but no, it is Monday. I'm taking the mic on Q&A Monday this morning, so thank you all for joining in. Instagram, Facebook, downloads, podcasts, YouTube. Thank you all so much. So on behalf of the Institute of Clinical Excellence, we are still hammering. If you were wondering, yeah, the live show has stopped on the road, but we do have a bunch of online courses that are just fueling up and are filling up hot because everyone's trapped at home and wanting to make productive use of their time. I know I am tired of making puzzles, and I'm trying to keep my hands busy and my mind busy, so that has been the case of why our Essentials Fitness Athlete course has filled out, and we are underway. We're doing our first meeting tonight with Essentials Fitness Athlete, myself and Alan. And if you are someone who's like, crap, that's a great idea, I should do some online learning, and you've already done the Essentials concepts, you can jump into Advanced Concepts, but it starts this week. So this is like final roll call, like the train's leaving the station for Advanced Concepts. So if you want to busy yourself and you want to jump in with Zach and myself in the Advanced Concepts Fitness Athlete, you can do so, but do it quickly, I would advise. So otherwise, I hope you guys are staying safe, staying healthy, and staying productive if you are still out of the clinic and at home. We're excited for when we can get things back to some semblance of normalcy, and I think the trend is starting to head that way. So a fair dose of optimism this morning. Which is never the wrong thing, I think. So Q&A Monday, we did have a few questions, and one of the first ones that came in was, I guess, kind of quarantine type related from Brian. Says, how's your gym doing during COVID-19? How are you guys faring? So CrossFit Fenton, co-owner of that facility and head coach over there, what's been going on with that? Well, we've been shut down since March 16th due to government statewide issued order. That came down kind of early and kind of swift, like it did for a lot of folks, and so we locked the doors. And so we've been doing some at-home fitness workouts ever since. Like most gyms, I think the statistic was like 95% of CrossFit affiliates are still closed, like worldwide. Like it's a big number of CrossFit affiliates that are not open. Trying to make do, trying to recreate the magic that goes on inside of those four walls as far as community, group fitness, coaching, the environment, the culture, trying to recreate that as best as we can in an online Zoom format. It's not easy, right? But we've got great people, a great community that's been logging on and been doing workouts and been tagging people, and we've got some challenges going out, and of lately we've been tweaking and tailoring our program just a bit more so that it services the at-home athlete even better, and we've been sharing that. That's going out to the ICE students page as well. So if you're somebody who's formally taken a course, you're sitting there, and you're in the ICE students Facebook page, I think you could search for Alan, and he's been sharing our workouts over there. So we'd love if you want to join us. Let's blow up this Zoom call. We've got a bunch of athletes from CrossFit Fenton. We do a Zoom 5:30 p.m. Eastern time, and it's unlimited people. So it's a lot of our gym members, and we'd love to see some of you ICE folks as well. If you want to tag along and do our workout with us, myself and Alan are on there at 5:30 at night. So doing the best we can. No real idea when we'll get back open, and when we do, it'll probably be in a reduced capacity as far as number of people in the gym at that time. But again, with the optimism, I'm hoping towards the end of this month, if not early June, that we can get some people back in the doors and start making some healthy, robust, hard-to-kill humans, because that's what we're in the business of doing, and our people are ready to get back to that. So that's where we're at with the gym, and I hope anyone else in a similar boat is weathering the storm well and ready to get back to action when we can do so, right? So a nice segue from that question actually comes from one of our members. So this question is from Kaylee Singleton, or Kaylee Trombley now, her Instagram at Kaylee Singleton. She asks, is it always necessary to hit full depth on squats? And I think this is a really good question because we can kind of peel back the context, the context onion on this one a little bit, right? Like when should we squat to full depth? What do we mean by that? When may we not have to go that far, right? So we advise for a full range of motion squat, which constitutes the hip crease getting down below the knee, which means like we do the marble test, right? So if you were to hit a squat and hold the bottom of your squat, and I took a marble and I set it on the halfway point, if I bisect your thigh and I set a marble right there, would that marble roll down towards your knee or would it roll back towards your hip? It should roll back towards your hip if you were at a full range of motion squat, hip crease below the knee, right? So that's our full range. We do that for a variety of reasons, all of which evidence-based. It's safer for the knee, that it trains the glutes, it trains all joints involved way better. It protects you from injuries better than it does quarter squats. It has equal force production as compared to just a quarter squat, right? So we do that for a host of reasons of why we train the full range of motion squat and taking our joints through full range of motion and getting you strength and control over that full range. Now, what about those people who are gifted with all the mobility in the world, and when they go full hip crease below the knee squat, it's the true butt to the floor, right? Like slamming it all the way down. Should they train that full range of motion, which you can imagine is not just past parallel, but it is much, much past parallel, right? It's still safe. That is still a range of motion that is safe to squat in and still safe to load it up heavily. But you're doing a lot more work though as well, right? And so I always present to athletes is why are we training the deep squat for you, right? Because if you're someone in the CrossFit or weightlifting community, you're going to have to catch cleans and snatches. You're going to have to get to the bottom of your squat quickly, and the lower you can go and receive the bar in your squat and still get out of it, the better weightlifter you're going to be. So if you are someone who is blessed with that mobility, right, and you can squat all the way down there, let's train you to squat all the way down there. I know it feels like more work right now. You're looking at the person to the left and the right of you, and they're breaking parallel, and you're going way past parallel, and you're like, well, heck, dude, like, shouldn't I just train that? The problem is they're going to have a harder time catching their squat cleans, and that's where you're going to start to outpace them because you've been training that full range. You're used to dropping it in the hole and standing out, and you've got the force to be able to do that. So it's a safe range of motion, and if you have it, I would always say train it. Now, there are times where you may not have to. There's times where you may be going for a different focus. Maybe you're going for an eccentric control. You want to train just below parallel and stand up, and you want to work some different muscle groups by doing that, or maybe just some box squats. You can do that as well, right? There's a lot of context behind that. That's also not to say that if you are not somebody who can't bottom it out, butt to the floor, right, full range of motion squat, that there's something wrong. Like that's not the case either. Not all of us anthropometrically are built to be able to do that, right? We should all be striving for a better squat. And by better, I mean full range of motion, hip crease below the knee, right? We should all be striving to get hip crease below the knee, but not all of us need to bottom it all the way to the floor like some people with a lot of mobility can do, okay? So that's a great question, and one that I always say, hey, my CrossFit athletes, if you can squat the full range, let's get you in right now to start squatting the full range so that we're strong for it, and it makes every range there above it stronger as well. So doing the hardest work will make everything else above that a little bit easier, okay? So great question, Kaylee. Thanks for submitting that. We do appreciate that. Another question, advice for a PT student. I think this comes from Jake. I'm not sure. I didn't write down. No. Here it is. I did write it down. Instagram handle, Anuzi. Instagram handle. Okay. Advice for PT student to treat for starting to treat the fitness athlete, right? So I'm PT student. What advice do you have for starting to work with the fitness athlete? Great question. The one that we get in our Essentials online course a bunch is like, hey, how do we start doing this? How do we work into this market? Especially as a PT student, understand the world you're kind of living in right now, which is juggling finances. That was a sneeze. Okay, I felt it coming on. I thought I could hold it off. You're juggling finances. You're juggling time. Maybe you've got a part-time job in there. Maybe you don't. Your head's in the books a bunch, right? So as a PT student, some of the things that we would advise maybe a clinician do, maybe slightly different, maybe the same. But at the end of the day, the first point is always like, you got to get involved in the gym somehow. Have to, right? And as a grad student myself, was right when I was making the transition from the strength and conditioning work that I was formerly doing and thinking that I wanted to go a different direction and I wanted to pursue CrossFit more. I felt like it matched up to my beliefs and my lifestyle more than the current state of training that I was doing, and I wanted to move in that direction. my problem, like a lot of people's problem, was that I couldn't come out of pocket for the membership fee, right? I could not find the money to be able to do that. Now, I also should say that I didn't have a gym very convenient to me either. So it's not like there was one close where I could have really slid in there and cleaned the floor and done some things and helped coach part time or kind of assist the coach during some classes or do some grunt work hours to make that a little bit more affordable for me. And that's really what we tell a lot of folks is say, hey, if you got a gym close to you and this is something that you want to do, work with these athletes, you got to start seeing movement. Like there's no way to expedite that process other than getting your eyes on thousands of repetitions a day, right? And the only way you can do that is if you're in the gym. Now, if you can't afford to be in the gym, talk to that gym owner. Say, understand that I'm a PT student and like this is my passion. This is what I want to do. And I just don't have this is all I can come up with monthly for you, right? Is this enough? And if not, what can I do to make up the difference? Can I clean your floors for you? Can I clean your bathrooms for you? Guess what? CrossFit gym bathrooms are nasty, right? They always need to be cleaned. Can you clean bathrooms? You're not above that as a PT student. You're not above that as a PT either, right? Just for the record. But just going in and saying, hey, can I be of service to this gym somehow and make this membership a little bit more affordable so that I can be here and I can help your athletes. I can watch, I can learn, I can take on a bunch of reps, I can start coaching down the road, I can help with clinics and seminars and all sorts of deals, right? There's a lot of tasks that go on behind the scenes when there's not members in the gym, and that's maybe one that you can step in and make that membership more affordable so that you can see these athletes. Now, secondarily to just seeing athletes moving, getting involved in a CrossFit gym would be to start getting some additional resources. And we have PT students join our essentials and our advanced concepts and take our live course all the time for that exact reason. They say, hey, I'm a PT student. Is this a good time to take this course? Should I not take this course? And we strongly welcome it because we're not going to shove things down your throat at that course that's going to fly in the face of what you're being taught at your PT curriculum. We're going to talk basic screening and movement principles, mobility principles, but at the end of the day, we're talking barbell movements, coaching, correcting, getting you moving better, getting someone else moving better. And those are like 90% of what we cover that weekend is stuff that PT school just doesn't have time to inject in the program. They want to. I've spoke to a number of program directors and faculty members of various PT programs, and they want to be able to do that. And they're trying to find ways. UVM Flint, my alma mater for PT school, Dr. Ryan Bean, who I know tunes into some of these sometimes, has gone out of his way to build out one day in therapeutic exercise where I come in and lecture about some of the foundational movements. They come out to CrossFit Benton and we do a full hour and a half lab where we break them down real time. I mean, how awesome is that? And I know I'm super jealous that as a student we didn't get that opportunity, but there's just not enough hours for a lot of programs to be able to do that. But you can do that in our live course. You can do that in our online courses as well. And they're not built out to be so cumbersome that you can't do them alongside your normal PT school hours or your normal clinical hours. So we're trying to fill that void the best we can and to make it so that when you graduate, you hit the ground running as far as being able to service these athletes as best as you can, right? So just checking that I don't have any questions there. I don't see any yet. All right, great. Other question, and this is a good one. I think this one comes from Jake. Favorite clinical rotation and why? Okay, so this one's cool. I put a lot of work in on the front end to set up my clinical rotations the best I could because I had such a definite focus of what I wanted to do after school that I didn't want to just leave it up for a chance in the lottery system and get placed somewhere and maybe that would work on my specialty or maybe it wouldn't, right? So I set up 2 clinical rotations out of my 3 full 10-week rotations, right? My first one was with Dr. Matt Austin at a physicians-owned clinic in a kind of a blue-collar area outside east of Flint, right? So that was that rotation was my first one in first full-time rotation in orthopedics, right? Or for 10-weeker. And that was great because it taught me a lot about the eval process, right? That rotation in my mind stuck out to me that it was a majority about carving out my evaluation skill, getting more comfortable in the room one-on-one questioning, like trying to streamline that process a little bit with the confines of the time domain that you have in the outpatient setting. Learned a lot of nice manual skills in our downtime there as well. So we spent a lot of time working on some mobs and some manips. And at the end of the day, had a lot of fun. It was a really fun group of folks to work with, and I'm super fortunate I got to do that. So that was my first rotation right here in mid-Michigan. And then the second one, I packed up my bags and drove to North Carolina. So I set up a rotation with who you guys know as Zach Long, right? Our faculty here at the Fitness Athlete Division as well, the Barbell Physio, a lot of you know him. I set that up through Twitter, believe it or not, right? So this seems so ancient ago, but a discussion on Twitter led to me and Zach engaging back and forth, and me expressing my frustrations with being able to find somewhere where they were using the barbell to dose people out with strength and Therax. And at that time, there just wasn't a lot of people talking about doing that. Maybe they were doing that. I'm certainly not saying it wasn't happening, but I just wasn't seeing it being promoted. I couldn't find a clinic where I knew that was going to be a meat and potatoes of what this rotation was about. And Zach's like, come to North Carolina. And thankfully, he took a chance on me as a student from Michigan he had never met. And I took a chance on packing up my car and driving to North Carolina. And it was a phenomenal rotation. I was at the Carolina Sports Clinic, which was kind of an integrated hybrid clinic with chiros and PTs on staff, which was super cool. It was in a great time of the year. I mean, the weather was awesome. Everything about that rotation was fun. I room and board with some awesome people. So start to finish, that rotation was fun. But really what made it the best was the relationship Zach and I had about like making this 10 weeks absolutely as valuable for you as possible, right? We're not just going to work in the clinic, treat patients, and then close the book and go home. This was about building your brand, understanding the current state of physio and strength and conditioning, and where we can make a difference, and putting out blog articles and videos. And let's meet at the gym on Saturday morning, and we're going to film 6 hours worth of video content, and then we're going to edit it. I mean, there was just so much going on there, and it didn't feel like an overwhelming amount of work. I mean, at the time, you have boards to study for, but I didn't even care. Like, I didn't even care about boards. Like, we were just in it as far as like the work we were doing, and it was so fun. And I got to thank Zach for investing so much time into me. Obviously he's doing a lot of work for his brand and his company, and all that is combined, right? It's all together, but at the end of the day, invested a lot of time into me. And so what I would say about, if you're let's say I'm on the flip side of that now, right? Now I've got the chance to be a clinical instructor for somebody else. I can invest that same kind of passion in them. Like, hey, this goes beyond just learning how to evaluate somebody, or what good manipulation to use, or what a good treatment program looks like. This goes into like, what do you want your career to look like? Let's use the next 10 weeks to try to get you as far ahead into what you want to shape out your career to be. And if you're someone who's very entrepreneurial, business based, then we can really do a lot of things to help get you ahead of that program, teach you a lot of lessons, show you a lot of things, and walk you through that process to get you ahead. So what I would say is if you're a clinical instructor, remember that individual may be investing a lot into spending that 10 weeks with you, and trying to go above and beyond a little bit to invest in them, as well as you help them gain their experience, right? I'll never forget it. It's built a lasting friendship and relationship with Zach and I. We're obviously colleagues here at the Institute of Clinical Excellence, and so it's been super fortunate for me. So a great rotation, a fantastic rotation. My last rotation was at Elite Physical Therapy in Traverse City, Michigan. Very awesome clinic. Joe Healer up there, who's been in the game a long, long time, knows a lot of folks, very well connected, and that was a great rotation. And I hit that Traverse City from June through August. So if you've ever been to Traverse City, you know what I'm talking about. You know that June through August up there, you can't beat it, right? So I was I lived a hippie lifestyle for 3 months up in Traverse City. That was fun. So those are the questions we got, and you know what? That brings us right at about 20 minutes. So thanks for joining us Q&A this morning. What I would say is that stay busy. stay focused on getting good during this downtime. If you still have downtime, and finding ways to supplement your learning, whether that's you got some online course options, you got the virtual ice, you've got a lot of different ways. Pick up a book, right? Get a certification. There's a lot of different avenues and ways that you can keep the wheels up top moving forward and moving forward for your patients. So stay busy with that. Thank you guys for joining on. Tomorrow's Tuesday, right? This is all weird. Usually I'm telling you guys to have a good weekend after Friday, but tomorrow's Tuesday. So stay with what day it is, because I forgot. All right. Anyways, thanks for being on this morning, guys. Have a great one. Hey, thanks for tuning in to the PT on Ice Daily Show. If you enjoyed this content, head on over to iTunes and leave us a review. And be sure to check us out on Facebook and Instagram at the Institute of Clinical Excellence. If you're interested in getting plugged into more ICE content on a weekly basis while earning CEUs from home, check out our virtual ICE online mentorship program at ptonice.com. While you're there, sign up for our Hump Day Hustling newsletter for a free email every Wednesday morning with our top 5 research articles and social media posts that we think are worth reading. Head over to ptonice.com and scroll to the bottom of the page to sign up.